Bitcoin mining is dead. Sort of. In my previous Bitcoin video, if you watched that, you'll know that I covered mining and how Bitcoin was generated and some of the things that you could do to be able to generate your own coins. The problem with generating your own coins is if you don't have a lot of money, the only way to do it was through your GPU, or at that time in the video, possibly your CPU. The GPU obviously is your graphics card. It only worked with ATIs primarily. It worked with NVIDIA's, but not as well. So in this video, I'm going to do a quick recap, and I want to explain where Bitcoin mining is now, and then where it's going, and where to go from here. Why do I say Bitcoin mining is dead? Well, as I go along through this video, I'll kind of elaborate on that whole thought process. Here's the Bitcoin mining calculator, which is familiar to you if you watched my previous video. In the past, when I made that initial video, CPU mining was just starting to wane and GPU mining was starting to become much more popular. So I decided that I would purchase two ATI graphics card. 6950s is what I got, which were close to top of the line at that time, which after accounting for heat and fan speeds and those kinds of things, I would get about a 500 mega hashes out of my cards, which back then was great. I'd get a couple coins a day. Now that difficulty has increased, it can be anywhere from 0.04 bitcoins a day to 1.14 bitcoins a month. So as you can see, because difficulty has increased, it doesn't really make it viable to continue to mine bitcoins with GPUs. Unless you've got multiple computers going, that you don't mind the electricity costs for that, then you could have 10, 20 computers mining, or maybe you have a bot farm going or something. I don't know. But anyway, GPU mining isn't viable anymore. It's dead. The next question you have to ask yourself, well, if GPU mining's dead, what's next? Well, there's newer chips out that people are using to begin mining bitcoins at a much, much higher hash rate. We're talking gigahash here. And those are called FPGAs and ASICs. So if you have enough money, you can put down on these things as an investment. There was an article in Vice magazine online, which someone purchased a Bitcoin miner for approximately $20,000, and that's supposed to give you an amazing rate of return because it hashes at such a high rate. So let me just scroll down here real quick and show you what a general setup looks like. So here's a picture of 41 FPGAs hooked up for mining bitcoins. I have no idea what the hash rate is on that, but it's got to be pretty awesome. So you ask yourself, what's the difference between an FPGA and an ASIC? So you're asking yourself which one to get. I haven't really looked into it too deeply because I do dollar cost averaging and trading it now, which I'll show a little bit at the end of the video as an alternative to mining. But I'll post this in the description along with all the other links that I use so that you can just browse it and figure out which one that you like the best if you're going to go down this road. So you're probably asking yourself, great, I want one of these. How do I get one, or how do I find out about getting one? Well, there's two companies. There's one called Butterfly Labs and Avalon ASIC. So far, there's mixed reviews on both of them, I think, in the Bitcoin community, and you'll want to take those into account. But as you can see here on the screen, Butterfly Labs has a 60 gigahash Bitcoin miner for $1,300. Now, let me show you here in the mining calculator how much 60 gigahashes is. When that calculates out, you're looking at the current difficulty about 4.5 Bitcoins a day, 137 a month, which calculates out to about over $12,000 at the current US dollar to Bitcoin ratio there. So if you're looking at that final number, that 60 gigahash rate on that unit from Butterfly Labs is awesome because you've just basically paid for almost 12 of these things. So what happens if it crashes down to $5 and it's 600? So it pays for about half of it. That to me kind of makes sense to the point that I might want one. The problem here is that the only people that I know of to have actually shipped anything right now is Avalon ASIC. And so you've got they've had 2 batches rolled out. They don't just sell them on a continuous basis. You have to sign up for waiting lists. Butterfly Labs is the same way, but they haven't shipped anything to my knowledge yet. So you'll have to do your own searching on this and determine if that's something that you want to do, if you're willing to take that kind of risk. And again, Bitcoin's brand new. I would say brand new. It's been out for a couple years now. It's kind of a risky proposition at times. So don't put any more into it that you cannot afford to lose. So with Avalon, you see here down at the bottom, they shipped in their first batch 300 units for a total of about 1,300 a unit. And so that was placed on September 23rd, 2012. Shipping time is expected March 3rd, 2013. I'm assuming that they've been shipped out. I haven't been able to follow if they have shipped out. Their second batch, $1,500, 600 units were shipped out, and their estimating ship time is April 15th. Batch 3 is not open yet. It looks like they're only going to take it in Bitcoin for the price of 75 Bitcoins, and currently at $88. That's a 6,600 or so. So that's a lot, and to be able to buy Bitcoin, then you'd have to go and buy Bitcoins to be able to buy one of these, and if you've never done that before, it can be kind of daunting. So back on Butterfly Labs page here real quick, as you see at the bottom, they've got a massive one here for almost $30,000. It's 1,500 gigahashes, or I think that's 1.5 terahashes if I'm not mistaken. So these look like a really good promising thing, but they haven't shipped. And so my question here is, and I haven't been able to figure this one out or find someone that can answer it, is that right now, if you go to Bitcoin charts, right here at the top, it says there are 44 terahash per second. And the waiting lists for these new miners, the FPGAs and the ASICs, they're already filled. So you're not going to be able to get the first wave of these things. And if they send out 2,000 in one big go, you're looking at almost 100 terahashes added just to this number. So looking at the difficulty of Bitcoins and how that expands and contracts depending on how many people are mining, that's where the whole idea of maybe Bitcoin mining isn't viable unless you're willing to take that bigger risk. If you're just a single, you're doing it as a hobby, then mining is not going to be your thing anymore. So for me, that's a big question mark or concern I have with these FPGAs rolling out. So then the next thing is, if you can't get an FPGA or ASIC or whatever, you can't get on the waiting list because the next waiting list is 6 months from now, and by that time the first group have already had their Bitcoins and they've already mined a ton of them. And it's not to say that you won't mine a lot, but the difficulty will increase and it will be a lot less than what you could have mined. So what do you do if you can't mine them anymore? Well, you go to an exchange and buy them. So you've got Coinbase.com as an exchange. Mt. Gox is the most popular here, and then CoinLab. Now, Mt. Gox is the most well known. It's kind of the exchange that everyone pegs the US dollar to Bitcoin off of. Mt. Gox is getting out of the market for the US due to regulations. However, CoinLab will be taking that over. And you can sign up on their website to find out more information about that, when they're actually going to start taking over the exchange of US dollars to Bitcoins. There was a ruling passed or regulation or something along those lines that by the Treasury Department that Bitcoin exchanges now had to comply with federal money laundering laws. So though that's another issue that needs to be looked at in as far as the Bitcoin exchange. So great, I want to buy Bitcoins, but they're at what, $88. That seems a bit too much. Well, what you can do is you can buy them in small increments. Now, so let me just explain here. There's a concept called dollar cost averaging when you're trading stocks or currency or anything that is traded over a market. Now, I do some trading of actual stocks in the past. I still dabble in it from time to time, but I don't put anything more that I can't afford to lose. I do it as a hobby. I don't do it necessarily to make money, but it has made me money, which is the bonus. So here's a hub page that I actually wrote some years ago about where to start if you want to buy and sell stocks. It's got a lot of good information that kind of relates to the Bitcoin market. The biggest thing is dollar cost averaging. This is important to listen to. The reason why I will show you here in a few minutes. But basically, it allows you to even out the amount you've purchased Bitcoins for, and it lowers that amount so it spreads out the risk and lessens it. So here I've got a spreadsheet, which I'll link to at the bottom here so that you can see an example of it. And what I did is I went to the Bitcoin charts and pulled up a chart for my time period. I actually did a year, but this is 6 months, and you can load the raw data and see all of that data. And what I did is I basically just copied and pasted it into Excel so that I had my own spreadsheet, and here's all the raw data. I started for a whole year on 3/6/2012, and it ends at 3/12/2013. So that was almost 15 days ago, and Bitcoin was around 45 then. And that price is kind of crazy when you think about it now. It's doubled in almost 2 or 3 weeks. And so over here on the right hand side is the breakdown of that, and I used the closing price of the Bitcoins for these calculations. Your buy high and your sell low and your open, it's the close that you really want to pay attention to here. So I set this chart up so that it's a representation of if I bought one coin a day, then this is what my outcome would be. The average cost for one Bitcoin would have been $11.76. Even when I was buying it at $45 or $48, as you can see right here, I was still buying one Bitcoin, but it all averaged out to be just shy of $12 a Bitcoin. That gives me a total of roughly 360 coins for a total actual real world value of spent of approximately $4,200. And in today's price, at the time of the spreadsheet, it would have been worth over $16,000 in Bitcoin. Now, to calculate that today, if I still had those 360, so if I had it would be over $31,000 at $88 per Bitcoin. Now, you'll see here I have commission and the cost of that. So the cost of the commission basically here is 1% per transaction. So that's roughly $42. And where I got that figure from is Coinbase. Coinbase is my preferred coin purchaser at this point. I've recently discovered it. I've not used any other exchange other than Coinbase before. And every other exchange to me looked really convoluted and kind of difficult to set up. What I like about Coinbase is that when you go to purchase the Bitcoins, it will transfer money from your account, make that purchase, and lock that price in. It might take a week or so, depending on your bank account, to clear that, but you will have that price is locked in for you, and you will be able to purchase those Bitcoins with a simple bank transaction. Everything from Mt. Gox that I've seen and like bitinstant.com, you have to sign up with Dwolla to buy a coupon at BitInstant to do something with Mt. Gox. That's just too much for me. Too much hassle. It has to be easy for it to be viable. And going back to Coinbase, one of the key things here to always remember with Bitcoin, it's designed to buy and sell goods and services. It's a currency. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not a pyramid scheme. Although some people do argue that, I don't really believe that per se. So as I said, it's buy and sell currency. Coinbase really makes it easy if you're a merchant to be able to buy and sell items either online or using your smartphone. I would probably recommend this for sure. And this is a US based. So now if you're like in the UK or something like that, another one that I know of is Coinbin. It's a little bit more difficult to set up right now, but I spoke to the person that runs this, and they're working on doing a rewrite of how this works. So keep an eye out on that, as that will become a viable option if you're in the UK. So let me get back to the spreadsheet here. So this first one showed you how averaging works if you bought 1 Bitcoin a day at a specific price. The next one I'm showing you here is a weekly average. So this is roughly the same time period here, from 312 to 311. And what you'll notice is this column here, I went and calculated out how much it would be to buy $10 worth of Bitcoins a week. So the first week here, Bitcoin closed at $5.2. So that gets me close to 2 Bitcoins. The next week it closes a little bit less. So that gets me 2.1 Bitcoins. And so on. At the end of a year, purchasing $10 a week, I would have almost 60 Bitcoins, about 59.18 Bitcoins, for an average cost of $12.54 per coin for the year, which gives me a total average cost of about $742. And in today's price, at the time of closing on this timeline here, it would be $2,633. However, since it's at 88 right now, 59 Bitcoins is almost $5,200 or so. And of course, I broke out the commission here, and then the average cost plus commission. You always want to calculate in the commission, because otherwise you just lose it. You're not accounting for that, so you're actually making a little bit less than what you would be making if you're doing this method. Remember, it's called dollar cost averaging. I'm not telling you should do it. You need to do your own research on if you think that this is something that you want to do. And the way that I do this is with Coinbase. So as you can see, I signed in my Coinbase account. I see I have two transactions here, one for 0.1586 Bitcoins and 0.22 Bitcoins. One I placed the prior week and one was placed recently over the weekend. Now, as what I've been doing is in my spreadsheet here, I've got a transactions table here that you can see, so you can see how much I'm actually spending and netting, and kind of how much I'm making profit wise here. So right now you've got the rules here for trading Bitcoin. My thing is to buy either one coin a week for a year, or what I'm actually doing, this is not what I'm doing, it's to actually buy $10 worth of coin a week for right now. That's all I'm willing to risk in this market at this time, because it is rapidly increasing. I'm expecting it to rapidly crash at some point in the next few weeks. Now I say buy at the same time of day. The other day was like Tuesday is when I was purchasing them. Um, I wasn't able to purchase through Coinbase because of some technical issues for almost the entire week. So, and since then, I ended up purchasing on the weekend. I'm going to suggest, if you're going to do this, purchase on the weekend. And the reason why is most people don't trade on weekends and the price actually drops. If you go back and look at the chart for this week, it's the 20 something of March. What is it? The 27th of March. If you go back and look at it for previous Friday into the weekend, you'll see that it dropped from almost 75 down to 60. And so I was able to purchase these Bitcoins at $63, a $63 value of Bitcoins, and now it's up to 88. So I've already made money on that transaction, and it's only still pending. So when it goes through, I will have made money. So here's current Bitcoin value. I go to the buy and sell, and where I get these figures from, I get them from Coinbase directly, because Coinbase averages out the number. And so here you can see it's $89.33 already. So if I was going to purchase, then I'd go and put the $89.33 in there. I think that's right. Yes. And so that's only, 0.1119 Bitcoins. And I do it to 4 places because it gets me a little bit more accurate amount there. And then up here you'll see that it's got the averages everything out. So anyway, I'm not going to continue to bore you with the spreadsheet here, but this is one way that you could make Bitcoin by doing dollar cost averaging over a long term. This is a long-term strategy. It's not short-term. You're not going to get rich, in 3 weeks from now, unless, Bitcoin quintuples or whatever. But anyway. So anyway, to finalize this here, I'll just give you this little tidbit from this article I wrote, because I think it allows you to understand dollar cost averaging a little bit better. So let's say you buy a stock, or in our case, Bitcoins. Say 100 Bitcoins at $50 for a total of 5,000. Then it drops down to 25. So in the real world, you've lost, your unrealized loss is $2,500. But if you buy 100 more shares of the same Bitcoin at 25, you've averaged out the cost for paying this. And you end up with an average cost per Bitcoin of $37.50, which means that you only need to get above $37.50, and then you're back into making money on your Bitcoin. So it lowers risk and can increase your profitability over long term. So to finalize, if you're going to trade Bitcoins, invest the same amount on the weekend because it's traded less than, you'll get a better deal. Don't spend what you can't afford to lose. Don't keep it all in your online wallet if you use Coinbase or any other service. If you link a bank account to it, make sure the bank account's only got enough in there that you're willing to lose. And in this day and age, it's the potential for hacking is still there. So you want to lessen that risk by not putting in more to that account that you can't lose. And if you can, separate it out. So in closing, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I hope it was a bit more informative, gave you some answers to your previous questions from my first video here. And so hopefully that you have a better understanding of where mining's at, where to go to look at mining, higher level mining if you want to do FPGAs or ASICs. And then finally, if you want to purchase Bitcoins or trade Bitcoins. There's a lot of services out there that you can use to purchase Bitcoins. You can purchase pizza with Bitcoins. You can go on Amazon and buy stuff through Amazon through Bitcoins. It's done through an intermediary. I don't, if you're a member of Reddit, there's a Reddit Bitcoin market there that you can go to, and people are buying and selling stuff there, or they'll post, different merchants will post there. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to post any comments. Thanks.